Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Kristen White, clinical psychologist and mom of 3, and this is the Mom Degree, where we provide support and tools to help women feel less crazy and be more effective in their role as mom. So if you've been following along, we've been in quite a series on shaping behavior, how to help our kids become little people we like and trust and all those things. And I am happy to say I think I have said all I want to say on that at this point, so we are moving on. Hopefully that's good. You can still send me your questions. I'm sure we'll return to it at some point. It's kind of a major topic of parenting, but we are moving on. And just as a balance to having spent the last number of weeks talking about discipline and heavy topics, today we are going to talk about playing with our kids. So I want to talk today about why we play with our kids, how we play with our kids and to be effective, and I'm going to end with the don'ts, what we don't have to do in terms of playing with our kids. I hope this is a little bit light and fun comparatively to where we've been the last number of weeks, although I do recognize this could be anxiety provoking. That when I say play, hopefully a lot of you were like, yay, play, that's fun, I get excited. And some of you were like, oh my God, that I hate sitting down and whatever, playing Barbies with my daughter and having a tea party and do I really have to do that? So we're going to talk about that today and hopefully really be able to make play meaningful for you and your kids, but also fun, okay? So first of all, and I'm going to be using examples for younger kids because you guys know that's what I have right now, but this applies to all ages and I'll try to throw some examples in there of that as well. So why do we play with our kids? Do we even need to? Is this important? Yes. As a psychologist in particular, as well as a mom, I can tell you, yes, we need to play with them and it is important. Not all day, but at times. Now, the reason is that play is kids' language of communication, right? That is what they naturally gravitate towards, how they naturally learn about the world, explore it, express themselves. So if you're like me, I pick up my 4-year-old from preschool and I drive her home and I want to be like, Lizzie, how was your day? Right? Good. Maybe I get that. What'd you do? Played. Right? It's I want to have this nice conversation, and that's not how they operate. That is not, there are days I get more, but that's the most typical because that's just not their language. She's much more interested in drinking her milk than having this nice, verbal conversation with me as we just drive home in the car. It's just not going to happen. So we have to engage some play with them because that's how they communicate. So if we really want to know what's going on in their hearts, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what they care about, what they experienced at school, play is and I'm using this term really broadly, I'll break it down in a few minutes, but play is the best way to get at that information. I had another thought about that, why we play. Oh, just to clarify too, I think that that's just the natural way that kids communicate is just through play of all kinds, through puppets, through dolls, through whatever. But it's also, I think, helpful for kids because it takes the pressure off, right? So if their dolls or their puppets are saying something to each other, that's a little bit, especially if it's something it could be something heavy, they're scared about something or they're upset. Sometimes that's a little easier for them to talk about than to just say it to you, right? They can say that doll, that tiger is very angry and very mean and very aggressive. They wouldn't say he's aggressive, but they might play it out, right? That's much easier than admitting that they feel really angry and aggressive and they don't know what to do with that, right? So somehow it's not only the natural way they explore, but it helps the distraction, the redirection, indirectness of it, pick a word, I don't know, ladies. It helps them to be able to communicate more intense things that they wouldn't normally be able to say. Okay, so that's why we play with our kids, is this is actually how we speak their language and get to their hearts. Okay, now we don't always know when there's something there, so it's good to just make a habit of trying to play with them sometimes, but obviously you can step it up when you feel like there's something going on that you want to know more about. So the good news, this is the best news I want to give you in this video, is the how we play man, sky's the limit, right? So if you're that parent that when I started out talking, you were like, oh my God, are you telling me I have to sit down and play dolls with my, Barbies with my 5-year-old or whatever? No, I'm not telling you that. I mean, God bless your child. I'm sure that she would love it, and it would probably be a fruitful time. So great if you can manage it. But no, the idea isn't to hate this, right? So the good news is, initially when I think about play, I do think about playing with stuffed animals, puppets, dolls. My kids like these little, I should have brought some, these little figures that, they put them on cars, they put them in houses, they do, right? So that is a big part of play, is you acting out one and them acting out another and watching the themes, right? That can be huge, that can be important, but it doesn't have to be that. And this is especially true, even as we get to older kids, sometimes it's enough to just do whatever you're doing, make it kind of fun, make them distracted, and suddenly they start talking, right? So my daughter, I found that one of the things that we do together, my 4-year-old, is puzzles. I love puzzles. She likes puzzles. We can sit and do them together. It's like a fun bonding thing, but also she just starts talking about stuff because, again, it's sort of like this indirect, it takes the pressure off, right? Ironically, when my husband picks her up from school, he sings to her. So he says, I'm not going to sing to you, Lizzie, how was your day? Right, whatever. I don't know. He just makes it up. He makes up a tune, and suddenly she starts talking. She'll be like, today I had blah for lunch. I don't know how they do this, but it's just like, you just change it a little. You give a different forum. You give a different activity. If you have an older kid, maybe you take them out and shoot baskets, and all of a sudden they start talking, and you're like, what? I just tried to... and nothing, but you get them on something they enjoy, something they're distracted by, and sometimes they'll just start talking and open up about that. That's not going to be as true for a 2-year-old. That's a little harder. If they're really little, you might have to actually figure out a way to play with them, but still find something that you like or at least can tolerate so you don't hate it. But especially as they get older, sometimes it's enough to just tweak how you're doing it, add in another activity, and all of a sudden they open up, which is great because that means you can pick ways that you can meet them where you're actually going to enjoy it a little bit and not be tortured the whole time because this is your least favorite thing in the world. So if you're that mom that likes building with Legos, God bless you, buy some Legos, sit down and build together and see what happens. Just start talking, just let them lead a little bit, open up, but it can be direct or indirect. I have had moments, I remember, I want to say when my oldest was 2 or something, and she was playing with her little dolls and the little people, and I started playing with them with her, and they started talking about, for them, mommy was gone, mommy was going to work, and so it was this great way we got to explore how she felt about me going to work through these dolls, where she brought it up and she could talk about it because it was indirect. So those things can be awesome, but it doesn't have to be that way. It can be through just other activities and stuff that just distract them enough to kind of open up. So that's sort of the good news about the house, is that it's whatever works for you and your child. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You got to find some common ground you can meet in, but whatever works for both of you is fine. Okay, so whatever you're doing, whatever activity, here are the do's of when you're playing with them. First of all, you just have to make space for it. That's the hardest and the most critical part, is just to make some space for playing. It doesn't have to be a ton. You don't have to sit down on the floor with them for 8 hours a day, right? Even 5, 10, 15 minutes is going to get you actually a lot more ground maybe than you're getting now. So it doesn't have to be forever, but you have to make space. And then, you can initiate stuff sometimes. If you can tolerate what they're doing, let them initiate too, for at least a little bit of the time. And I would do a little bit of then following their lead, right? You open up the space and then follow their lead. Not only what do they want to do, but what do they want to talk about? How do they want to interact? And this is a time, play is their arena, right? It's their arena. So this is your time to be on their territory and give them yourself in a way that they can just open up. So I would follow their lead. If they're playing with their little dolls, right? If my daughter's the mom is going to work, I'm not immediately going to jump on that and oh, Lizzie, how do you feel about that? I'm not going to take her out of the play. I'm also not even going to jump on the dolls. Oh, are you upset about mommy going to work? I'm just going to kind of make space, follow her lead, and maybe just reflect. Oh, mommy's going to work? Okay. And then what happens? Okay. Do you like that? Right? So I'm going to be real gentle, real kind of like a benign curiosity. That's a phrase I've learned in graduate school that I love. Just benign curiosity. It's just kind of gentle. It's curious. It's kind. It's like, I don't have an agenda. My agenda is to know you, to be with you. I don't have to prove anything. I don't have to fix anything. It's just being with you, following your lead, maybe reflecting some of the themes you're seeing, some of the thoughts, some of the feelings, reflecting with words. As the play progresses, you could invite a little, ask a question, see what happens. If it falls flat, you move on. Maybe you could introduce some ideas as the play progresses again. So I think eventually I said, mommy always comes home from work, right? Eventually I'm going to introduce that, but I'm not going to start there because I don't have an agenda. My agenda is to know my kid and to be with them. So I'm not trying to prove anything or fix anything. So it's just being with, reflecting what you're hearing, and maybe down the line introducing something, an idea. Very simple. It can be totally repetitive. They might play out the same scene 100 times. Okay, so, and you just keep playing it. And maybe it's the 20th time that you introduce a new theme or idea, but you just keep doing it with them. It can be really simple. It's just being with and reflecting. I think I've already alluded to these, but here are some things you don't have to do. You don't have to take forever doing this. You don't have to do something you hate. You don't have to make it complicated for you or for them. Please don't. You'll lose them. And here's another thing, and this is the big one for a lot of moms I meet, and maybe myself. You don't have to entertain them. This is not about like making them laugh or like being the coolest, funniest mom in the world, right? If you don't feel like that's you, great. That's not what this is about. What this is about, the bottom line, is that you are being with your child. You are joining them on their territory, their agenda, and just being with them so you can see and hear them a little better. Okay? So your mom challenge this week is just to go play with your child in a way you wouldn't ordinarily. Whatever that looks like. You do what they've been asking you to do for weeks. You introduce a new concept like the puzzles. I don't care. Think of it as an experiment. Just an experiment. Introduce this activity and see what happens. No agenda except being with them, just joining them. And over time, these are the spaces we create where they open up our hearts to us, just like the discipline we've been talking about. So go create some space, be with your little kiddos who are crazy, but I know you love them. Join them and just see what's there and let me know what happens. Much love and many blessings. Until next time on The Mom Degree.